Subscribe if you think Alfred is the best butler in the world.
Oh, hey everypony. Sorry for the incomplete sketch, but I'm still currently drawing out Saddle Arabia, since there hasn't been really any need to draw it out before. But since this episode promises to take us there, I figured I'd go ahead and get started. So, without further ado, this is On the Road to Friendship. The episode begins with Starlight and Trixie performing a stage show for the townsfolk as well as 3 princesses. Later on, Cadance and Twilight make a comment about how such good friends the two of them are, and how such good their performance was. Rhino Butler, could you keep an eye on those karma scales?
Certainly, sir. They are currently in stable setup foreground area, safe and secured.
Well, after Starlight buggers off, Trixie is approached by a pony from Saddle Arabia, who's a really big fan of Trixie's show, and wants to trade his wagon for hers and have her tour Saddle Arabia. She's of course denies the trade, however, traveling to Saddle Arabia intrigues her. But she doesn't want to do it alone, so she invites Starlight, who says it's going to be the best road trip ever.
I should probably get some pony to cover my student counseling duties while we're gone.
Don't worry, Starlight, I got you covered. Counselor Gentleman at your service. There's no problem that can't be solved with a jackhammer, a mallet, a shotgun, and a pitfall. For instance, come here, Cozy Glow. Well, right away, Trixie and Starlight already run into a problem. There's not enough space in the caravan for the two of them. And even though Trixie could let out some of the magical items, she refuses to part with any of them. And Starlight commonly accepts this and just continues to walk beside her, reassuring Starlight that this is going to be the greatest road trip ever. Rhino, how's that karma scale going?
It's climbing into dangerous foreshadowing territory.
Okay, keep me posted. And to cement it that this is going to be the greatest road trip of all time, they sing a song about it. And like any good MLP song, it moves the story along quite nicely, as well as foreshadows future events. How are those karma scales looking now, Rhino Butler?
They're completely off the scales and are bouncing around the studio! Help!
Jeez, I haven't seen karma scales that bad since Magical Mystery Cure's Morning in Ponyville. So they arrive at a random town, where all their problems start when Starlight buys a falafel, which is either the world's most expensive falafel, or they just flat out didn't bring enough bits. Either way, here's a travel tip. Always bring more money than what you need. Well, like a domino effect, one bad thing happens after another, to the point where both of them are ending up spending a night in Trixie's caravan, where neither of them have enough room to even breathe, let alone sleep. Which of course affects both their temperaments for Trixie's show the next day. As I said, all of this for one falafel. Well, that night, both Trixie and Starlight have an argument which results in Trixie sleeping in the woods, only for her to return the next day to discover that Starlight had traded her caravan away for a bigger, more luxurious caravan, which results in the end of their friendship. Now, up to this point, I was completely unbiased. Truly, I was. Both of them made mistakes, and the other had to pay for the consequences of those mistakes. But selling property that isn't yours crosses the line, Starlight. I think you need remedial lessons with Discord and Twilight. Well, against all odds, Trixie manages to catch up to the pony who traded for her caravan. She demands it back, but he refuses. Meanwhile, Starlight is having her own sets of problems, as she realizes that a single big caravan isn't always the best route, and since she's traveling by herself, she's forced to deal with all the problems that her and Trixie face all by her lonesome. But thankfully, the two ponies from before, thank you foreshadowing, tells her and reminds her what truly was important, so she races on back to Trixie's aid. Well, okay, but there's still no guarantee he's gonna give it back. I mean, he's been dying to get Trixie's caravan since the first scene. Well, the kindly Saddle Arabian gent agrees to give it back if they can prove their friendship. So Trixie and Starlight do a friendship chant that they literally just made up on the spot, which, why didn't they just copy Twilight and Cadence? It doesn't matter. He accepts it and just gives it back anyway. And so they canceled their Saddle Arabian tour, going back to the Twilight's Kingdom, and everything works out in the end. And that was The Road to Friendship. And is it weird that I was expecting more of the Road to El Dorado scenario between these two? Something I noticed is that the second half of Season 8 is really dragging its hoofs in the ground, and I'm hoping that this episode starts picking up the treads and moving it along in the right direction. The song was decent and gave a lot of foreshadowing to what would happen throughout the episode, so I do give it points for that. Nobody felt out of character, and everybody seemed to play their role just right. And heck, even that Saddle Arabian pony wasn't bad. I like the fact that they didn't actually make him the bad guy. He was a minor antagonist at most. And I hope to see him again in the future. The only really big issue I had with this episode is that bit with Starlight trading away Trixie's caravan just to progress the plot. That is not okay. But aside from that, everything seemed to work out good, and I hope that this episode is what moves everything along to make Season 8 great again. But what did you all think? Did you like this new Saddle Arabian pony? Do you want to see him again? Do you think he was an antagonist? Do you think he had sinister intention? Or do you think he was just an average bloke? Let me know in the comments below. Until then, I'm the Cartoon Gentleman, your vintage king, and I'm going to prove my friendship with my friends. Come on, everybody, let's make complete fools of ourselves to show our friendship with each other.
Come to be a god, bred where mortals have not trod. Be deified when really you're a sham. Be an object of devotion, be the